Things. This is VA455 final project made by Mert Kaya. This is a clock that can talk and it can tell you time, moisture, temperature, and it can give you a random question for shutting off the alarm. So it uses a lot of hardware inside, and I will now show it to you. So we have 3 buttons. By the way, I'm not happy with the quality of these buttons, but that will come later. We have an LDR that's connected to an analog pin to control PWM of the LED, so it doesn't blast full power in absolute darkness. We have shift registers on this bottom board, where there are 6 shift registers that drive these PNP transistors to control the LEDs. We have our speaker, we have our amplifier module, we have our Arduino Nano, we have a relay to control the amplifier so that it doesn't produce static when the speech is not activated. We have a MOSFET at the back to control the PWM of the LEDs, as I mentioned. And this small board connects with the big one with some jumpers, so it is modifiable. And we have our RTC module. We have a boost converter to boost up the voltage for the speaker, and it can also boost the voltage of the LEDs a little bit more, which is controlled by the switch. Why I did put a switch here, because if the switch is selected to high power, then this pulls too much current from a laptop USB port and it's not recognizable by the computer anymore. So let's turn this to the other way and see. Well, it is a bit difficult, like with one hand, but okay, so yeah, it gets slightly dimmer. Not that it is very noticeable, but yeah, so that's there. And this whole thing, there's also this moisture and temperature sensor. We also have another temperature sensor on this, but this reads a bit higher because it's in there and it is a bit hot inside. And we have this back plate, so I can close this off the other way around and have the blue sensor sticking out so that it's not being affected by the insides of the watch. And this box is specially designed this way, so I can modify this design, change this top piece, maybe add more buttons in the future if I wanted, and then I wouldn't need to print this whole thing again because this is screwed in there. Same with this guy. This guy is replaceable as well. Right now I just have the boost converter, micro USB here, but it can be changed. I could put the sensor cutout, this on here, and this would be a single piece. But I decided to put the sensor after making this, so this is where the cutout is. So that's why. We have brass inserts, so the most gonna be used screws will be these. They will be constantly screwed in and out because this is the main back piece. So I used brass here, but on these less frequently used panels there are just nuts holding them down. Okay, so that's the summary of the hardware. Let's go with the software. If you press the black button once, we get temperature and moisture from the blue sensor, which is the HD11. If we press this once, it will tell us
the time is 6:17 a.m. The temperature is 25 Celsius. The weather mist is 78%.
Okay, so weather mist stands for moisture. I didn't have the word in the library, so I decided to use weather mist instead. By the way, this time is wrong because the RTC module battery is depleted. It keeps resetting if I pull this out for a while. And we do not have a way to set time with the buttons yet. I didn't program that because it's not really important. So, what do we have? We have the normal report of the time and moisture temperature, we have regular, just showing it, and if you press this twice,
the time is increasing. The temperature is... Oh, baby, I'm sorry.
Okay, so it says time is increasing, temperature is something, I am not sorry, try again next time, something like that. That is a random action, but I just made it so that it activates with double press to not be so annoying. But normally it would be random, so in the mood of the clock can change randomly and it can decide to not tell you the time. So that's one random part of this. And another random part of this alarm function right now, the alarm only goes when we press this, and it will not scream alarm alarm because this is a demonstration, right? So I don't want to go full alarm mode in like 2 a.m. So there we go.
Warning, warning. Walk use 8 times 7. Enter. Select button from display. Left is red. Purple is blue. Right is black.
Okay, so what it says is it asks us about 7 times 8. It says red is left, blue is middle, and black is right. The speech is not perfect, but it can be improved later anyway. So we have some possible answers here. So it asks the true one. What happens if we press the wrong one? So if we press the wrong one intentionally, it will say
Try again.
Try again. So let's see. Well, that didn't register.
You win.
And it says you win. Normally, when you are giving it the wrong answer or just not giving an answer for a while, it will start screaming alarm and that will wake you up. And this is what it looks like in the dark. Yeah, it is quite bright in the dark, so that's why I put the LDR there. It is fully adjustable, I mean the brightness. So in the absolute darkness, it can be set to a lower brightness, but right now that obviously doesn't work. So let's try again. So this time it will be a...
Warning. Walk use 63 minus 26. Low. Select button from display. Left is red. Purple is blue.
Okay, so
right
first time it was multiplication. Now we have a summation question, and it's again gives us 3 options to pick from. So let's go with the correct answer and just skip for the last type of question. Now these are in order, again, for demonstration purpose. Normally these would be random, so every time you are waking up it would give you a random question with random numbers, but the numbers are completely random. This effect is also intentional, by the way. When it is talking, I just scramble all of the bits of the LEDs. Right? Anyway, so we again have 3 options. This time it is not multiplication, not subtraction, it is summation. And I didn't listen what it says, so I'm just going to press a random button and we win. Okay, so this is the alarm function. We have the regular display function to show the temperature and moisture. We have the speech function to tell us what is the time, temperature, and the moisture. And we have the alarm function to ask us different random questions.
The weather mist is 77%.
And this is what we have at the moment. So how this can be improved from the software? First of all, there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. We could add a lot more maybe question types, but I think multiplication, summation, and subtraction is enough for just waking up, because if you make the questions so hard, then what will happen is that I will just pull this up, right? So the questions need to be easy enough. They should be at least possible to brute force if I cannot, like for example, cannot multiply something a bit difficult than usual, then I should be able to just brute force it. But the act of getting out of the bed pressing these buttons, thinking about the question, will make me wake up enough so that I don't go back to sleep. I think this is a more effective method than just using your phone as an alarm, where you can just press the power button to snooze it off, and then it becomes a cycle of snoozing, snoozing, and snoozing, which is not very good. With this, we can set a alarm and we get a random mathematics question. It doesn't have to be a red mathematics question as well, so we can ask about pretty much anything where we get the answers with 3 buttons. I have some ideas. Just for fun, one can maybe ask the ultimate question of the universe, life, and you know that is 42, and there would be again some numbers, and you would pick 42 for example. That would be nice. But yeah, there are a lot of stuff that can be done, and it I think looks very good, by the way. From far away it's quite readable. This segment design is not mine, but I made it 3D printable. So normally this is designed by someone with the YouTube channel named Posse, and he has great content, but again, this is not my design, it's his design, but I made it 3D printable, and this is first layer, and it is white PLA, and the rest is bronze PLA. It doesn't look much like bronze, but this is what it is. Again, so let's give it a final description. We have again our Arduino Nano. I use the Nano because it's small and it is essentially the same thing with the Uno, just smaller. It has a socket so it can be removed. And we have our shift registers, as I said, our transistors, our LEDs are common anodes, so the positives are connected, and the shift registers pull the voltages of them low to turn them on, but because I'm using PNP MOSFETs here, the logic is inverted, but that details doesn't matter at the end. It can keep time with this RTC module, and again this needs a new battery since right now the time it loses time if it's turned on for too long. It can turn the speaker on and off with the relay. It can do PWM with the LEDs with the MOSFET, and it can get inputs with these buttons. It can also get inputs with this LDR, both to control the LEDs and maybe to use as a button as well, because if we cover this up, the voltage goes very low on the analog pin, and it can also be registered as a button. And we have our sensor, and that sensor will go in that cutout. So when I'm done with this, it will be a very nice, very functional clock. And I think it is very nice to have the idea of what is the current moisture and the temperature. So you cannot easily check that with a phone. I mean, you can, but it will not be the exact temperature of where you are standing. So I think that's nice to have. And yeah, so that's that. And I think I explained this, but this button is for changing the power of the LEDs to the low power mode from high power mode. I think they are right now on the high. So let me put that low so that it doesn't shut down my computer's USB port when I plug it in. And this thing pulls a lot of power when it is in the high power mode. It just dropped from, I think it dropped 10%, so it is pulling at least 500 milliamps, I would say, on the high power. The LEDs alone were pulling about 250 milliamps max on low power, so I'm not sure how much they are pulling at the extra power from the boost converter. This is something I added later, because on the sunlight this is hard to see even with the full brightness. I mean, after all, the LEDs are LED light is going through this 0.2 millimeter thick PLA, white PLA layer, so that's another detail. But if anyone wants to build this, the files will be available on the Thingiverse soon. And you can just change this piece, and this piece, if you don't want to make a talking clock, if you just want to make a regular clock, you can exclude this out. You can put something else, maybe a button or two here instead of on the top. The options are endless, and I could have also added a bit more stuff in here as well, but you gotta just decide where to end at some point. So this is the quick demo of my design. Essentially, the code is definitely rushed and needs some rework, and it needs to be adjusted for real-time use instead of a demonstration use with everything being random. But right now it does function as a watch. If we change this battery, it will keep time as well. So thanks for watching if you watched it this far, and have a nice day.